Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom. It's your brother Joshua back with another quick coffee break and a quick exhortation for the brothers and sisters in the truth, right? Shalaki. Oh. Right? Shalaki. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahushai, right? I just wanted to come give brothers and sisters exhortation in these last days to become more studious, right? To be more of a student, right? And what I mean by that is not always sitting up under a teacher or somebody that is always instructing and giving you instructions and information and things like that, and just taking those things and running with it, right? Sitting under a leader or some type of professor or teacher or whatever it is, an elder or whatever it is, and just listening all day long, taking that and running with it. And that's the problem with our people in the church, is they sit in the church every Sunday or whatever it is, and they listen and they listen and they listen, but they don't go do their own homework, right? And that's how easily deceived, our people can get and find themselves in traps, man, and snares when they don't go search out the information, when they don't go see what has been taught, if it's true, right? And the Lord said you got to do these things, man, to actually know if these things are so, right? So real quick, let me get a real quick precept, man, on that, right? This is the book of Acts, right? Real quick, kick it off with this. This is the book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse number 10. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse number 11, and it reads, "These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so." So they begin to search those things out, right? That was taught to them, that was told unto them, right? And that's what a good student does. They go and search out the matter and figure out, well, I sat in class all day long and I listened to this lesson, and I was told this bit of information, but yet I didn't go put my hand to the plow to figure out, right, if these things are true or not, right? You can't just take those things for face value. You have to dig in deep. So you have to be like those that are more noble than those that are going into the scriptures and teaching and speaking and things of that nature, man, and go into them and search and see if these things are really so, because you won't be easily beguiled, because you can mistakenly, hear some type of reverence of a man, or how smart this man or this woman is and things of that nature, right? And how much information this person has and that, but yet they can be wrong as all get out, and you would never know unless you put your hand to that plow and start flipping them pages and start deep diving into the information that's coming out, right? So the Lord said this though, right, real quick, in the book of Sirach, right, chapter 15, or chapter 5 rather, in verse number 15. And it reads, "Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small." So you don't want to be ignorant of anything, man. You don't want nothing to slip by you, man. Right? You don't want anything to slip by you, especially in these last days. You want to be equipped and always abounding in the knowledge of the Most High. You always want to be steadfast and trying to build up in these last days and learn as much as you can, right? So you can be stable in times to come, right? You have to have a solid foundation on how to move in these last days, how to conduct yourself, how to carry yourself, how to love your neighbors, how to please the Lord first and foremost, and how to maneuver in these dark times that are coming, And of course you need men to teach you, but the wisdom and knowledge is what is going to keep you stable in these last days, And let me get this real quick, right? Matter of fact, I might not even have to get that. Let me go ahead and get it, right? This is the book of Acts chapter 8, and I'm going to start at verse number 30, right? And it says, and Philip ran thither to him and heard him read. And the prophet Isaiah and said, understandest thou what thou readest? And he said, how can I, except some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. So, of course, you have to have a teacher or someone to guide you. But you have to put forth that extra effort to truly go into those things, dive in and see if those things are so. Because the Lord said you have to have a solid foundation in these last days so you won't be shaken to and fro and tossed with every wind of doctrine, man. Because in these last days, there's a lot of false doctrine coming out. It's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of goofies on these platforms and you know, TikTok channels and all this type of stuff, man. And people are just blindly, you know, following these people, man. And the Lord said the blind lead the blind. They're both going to fall into a ditch. So avoid that ditch. You have to be prudent in your own way, man, so you can be solid and know which way you're going, right? Especially when you're serving the Lord. Right, you have to have an increase. You always want to show an increase of influx of what you learn. Have your fruit bear witness of what your work is, man, and always abound. Because the Lord said, if this tree, he visit this tree, which is a man, and there's no fruit on it, he's going to cut it down, man, and hewn it into the fire. So you have got to bear fruit by gaining more wisdom and knowledge and understanding in these last days, because this is what's going to keep you solid. Right, so let's get the classic real quick in Isaiah. Right, before we kick it all the way off, man. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33, and verse number 6, and it reads, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure. Right, so that's what we're doing in these last days, is to build up that spiritual treasure rather than, right, physical treasures on the earth. So we're definitely trying to dive into being more studious in these last days, more attentive, more accountable of your own works, right? So you can build on that solid foundation. Those things that you've learned, you can also increase and abound in these things, right, that you've learned over time, man. So you can have a solid rock that you can bounce back on, that nobody can gainsay against you. Right? So let's get the definition of being studious, man, really. Right? So one definition of being studious is done deliberately or with purpose in mind. So you have a purpose of being a student. And what is that main purpose? To learn, to gather the information, to get everything that you have together and compile those things, man, and compute or download the information and make it useful in your life, man. Right? And another definition is showing great care or attention to what you're doing. Right? So paying attention and having great care is not just listening. Right? You have to put forth action as well. Just like I said, you have, you know, so-called Christians or students in school, you know, or wherever it is, man. All they do is sit all day long and they listen. But they never learn nothing. Because a lot of the information is going in and out of their minds, man. And they're not taking great care or, you know, paying attention to what they're doing. They're not taking notes, right? And they're not really focusing on what the information is being brought out, nor trying to couple or increase on that information. So you have to, it says, showing great care or attention, right? And similarities to this definition is being willful. You have to be a willful student, right? And to calculate things, right? You have to calculate, be able to calculate your things, being measured or purposeful, right? All those things go into being, you know, deliberately having purpose to becoming a student, knowing what you're trying to go into learn, going in to search out those things, right, and applying those things to yourself. And it also says being zealous or scholarly, right? And that's what scholars do. They show their scholarship, man, by going in and getting this bit of information here, getting this information here. Not just staying in one place, being narrow-minded, but figuring out how can I make these comparisons, brother, right? Going and searching out this information and seeing if this is coupled and aligns with this. And if this goes with this and this and with this, right? That's being scholarly, man, right? And the next thing is, of being a student, is building, right? And that's what we're talking about, is building on those things that you've already learned, right? Salakia, right? So you want to be able to build. And what is that to build? Is to know something, get the information, then go check it out. And whatever you find that's extra that you didn't know before that comes with that, couple that with that information, man, and build onto it. Keep searching out, getting more and more information off of that, getting more meat off of the bone, man. Right? And let's get a definition on meaning to be built up. Right? It says assemble or accumulate something by putting parts or materials together. So that's what you want to do. You want to compile the information together and collect it and sort it out accordingly and put it to good use. Right? And it says to become stronger or more intense, grow in or acclimate, man. So you want to build upon these things, compile the information, acclimate it, right? Get all the material necessary, and then become stronger in that subject, right? Because I can't think of the precept right now off the top of my head, but it says, you know, the student is supposed to be greater than his master, or, you know, wiser than his master in time, paraphrasing greatly, right? So you want to come to the point to where you're learning from someone, but you can also push the envelope and increase on those things that you learn and gain more information and add and build onto that, right? And become stronger in that area, right? And the third aspect of being studious is applying your hands, being handy, putting forth your work to it, right? All these things go together as putting your hand to it. Like I said earlier, you can't just be a stagnant learner, just sitting around in a pew all day, not flipping through the scriptures. You're just listening to sermons all day, clapping your hands and fanning yourself with that floppy fan in there. You know, listen to the baby crying behind you, and you really missing the whole message anyway. You know, preacher sitting up there sweating and going on, and you ain't paying attention anyway. Right? You falling asleep. How you expect to learn anything, man? If you didn't take that information that you heard and then you went and looked for yourself. Right? That's how a lot of people are being deceived and drawn away from the Most High in these last days. Right? And all the information is out there to find, to get. You just have to be willing to do so, man. Right? So let's get a precept real quick. Let's go to the book of 1 Thessalonians, man. Right? The book of 1 Thessalonians. Right? Chapter 4. And we're going to start at verse number... We're going to start at verse number 10. It says, and indeed ye do it toward all the brethren, which ye are in Macedonia. But we beseech you, brethren, that ye increase more and more. Right? And that ye study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you, that ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that ye may have lack of nothing. And that's what you want to do. You want to study with your own, you want to put forth your work of your own hands, man, right? And study to increase, right? Because wisdom is not going to dwell with a person that's subject to madness all day long, sin, wickedness, right? But it's gonna you're gonna deal with you with something called discipline, right? You have to have discipline in this walk. You have to have discipline, man, right? And it says, right, and it says that ye may walk honestly toward them that are without, and that's what you want to do. You want to be able to gather the information, increase the learning, have discipline, and be able to give it freely to those that are not able to understand these things, and break it down righteously, man. Right? And it says that you lack nothing, and you don't want to lack anything. You don't want to be a man that's lacking, that's caught out there, and supposedly you have the wisdom of the Most High and the understanding, but yet you can't go out there and defend the gospel, man. Right? You're out here getting confounded, been destroyed, looking crazy. You're giving the ministry a bad name, right? Things of that nature. You don't know how to build your brother up. You don't know how to build your own self up. None of these things, because you're caught lacking, because you're not studying this, paying attention, and staying solid on that foundation and increasing on the learning. Because a lot of you, you know, a part of being a student is having discipline within yourself, right? And that's how wisdom stays a hold and attaches onto you, right? Let me find this precept real quick. Right, this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, right? Chapter 1 and verse 4. It says, for unto a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that's subject to sin. So if you're idle all day and you're not increasing on nothing, you're not studying, you're not writing no notes down, you're not going over nothing, right? Then the wisdom is not going to dwell with you. You always got your mind constantly in sin and madness and foolishness all the time, man. Right? Wisdom is not going to stick with you. Right? And it says, for the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in, man. So wisdom is not going to stick with you. Right? If you do not stay on a solid foundation of following at the Most High, keeping the commandments, staying focused, right? Putting your hand to the plow and having that discipline within yourself, right? Let me get this precept real quick, right? Right, this is the book, right? This is the book of Sirach, Shalakia. This is the book of Sirach. Bear with me real quick. Let me find this real quick. The book of Sirach, chapter 4, and verse number, I'm going to start at verse number, let's start at 11, right? And it reads, wisdom exalteth her children and layeth hold of them that seek her. So wisdom is going to hold on to those that seek unto her. And it says, he that loveth her loveth life, and they that seek to her early shall be filled with joy. He that holdeth her fast shall inherit glory, and wheresoever she entereth, Lord will bless. So wisdom is going to be given to those that seek after her and love on her, man. Right? It's going to exalt or allow you to be built up. Right? Verse 14. It says, they that serve her shall minister to the Holy One, and them that love her, the Lord doeth love. So those that are studious, those that are constantly in the scriptures, searching, trying to study, remember things, gather the information, and putting forth the effort, right? The Lord sees that. And he gives wisdom to those that ask of it. Those that want to build upon these things. Those that are trying to put their hand to the plow and make these things work, man. Right? But these are key points. It says, whoso giveth ear unto her shall judge the nations, and that he that attendeth unto her shall dwell securely. So you have to dwell and hold fast unto wisdom, right? And it says, if a man commit himself unto her, he shall inherit her, and his generation shall hold her in possession. So if you commit yourself to learning and being studious, man, keeping the commandments, learning and building upon this foundation, the Lord said it's going to cleave unto you. You're going to inherit this wisdom, and then you're going to be able to give it to those that are without and build them up. So throughout your generations, it will continue to go on and go on, right? And it says, for at first she will walk with him by crooked ways, and bring fear and dread upon him, and torment him with her discipline, until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws. So that's the thing, that's the key, is to have discipline with working with your hands, right? You're not going to learn things overnight. The Lord is not just going to give you everything, overnight, man. And you just think, okay, well, I read 2 precepts, I'm good. No, that's not going to happen. You have to study, man. You have to focus. Hey, set aside a time. You're going to have to make that time for the Lord. These things just don't happen overnight, right, Salakia? Salakia. Boy, under weather, right? So nevertheless, you have to study to show yourself approved, man. Right? You got to show your own work, the work of your own hands, man. Right? And that's what the Lord tells you, right? Let's get that in 2 Timothy, man. The book of 2 Timothy, right, chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So you got to study to show yourself approved in this walk, man. That you will never be ashamed, man. That this wisdom is going to cleave unto you. You're going to inherit her. You're going to possess her because you show her that you love her. Because of your discipline. Right? Your diligent search. Right? And that's how the Lord deals with you, man. You ask for the wisdom, and he see you putting forth that effort, the Lord going to give them to you, man. But you got to prove your own self worthy to have her. That's just like a woman in the world, man. A woman is going to walk with you by crooked ways. She's going to see if you really down and you really about what you talking about, man. If you really going to do what you say. If you really that man. If you that guy, man. Right? That's how wisdom is. Wisdom is personified as a woman, man. And you got to treat her delicately and love on her, man. Right? But you got to show yourself approved, man. With the work. Right, let's get another precept on there. Let's go to Galatians. Right, this is the book of Galatians, chapter 6. And I'm going to start at verse 4. And it reads, but let every man prove his own work. Right, let me say that again. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another. Right? So, yes, we all need teachers. We need guides. Right? We need those elders. We need those that's going to build you up in this knowledge. But you got to take the knowledge that is given and you got to run with it and you got to build up. Right? You got to search out that matter, man, and you got to add on to that thing, and you got to become better. Right? You can't just stay on a certain level and think that, you doing something, man. Right? You got to make your fruit grow. You can't just have one little piece of fruit right here hanging on and barely about to fall off, man. And think you know something, man. At the end of the day, we all don't know nothing. We just men. But at the same time, man, you got to show the Lord that you're increasing by putting your own hand to the plow, man. And doing this work. And a slothful man is not going to show forth those things. You're supposed to be in that time of your downtime a lot of times. You don't always have to take that time to, watch TV or play on your phone all the time, things like that. You should be trying to add wisdom unto your soul. right? You should be trying to gain and keep that foundation solid, man, that you don't lose anything, that you don't lack anything, man, right? Because it's easy for you to lose it. It's hard to gain it, and to keep it. You have to have that discipline to be able to keep those things, man. But it's very easy to lose it, man. Once you sit down and you take that rest and you breathe and say, I got enough, man, and I did enough. Hey, and you start to boast in your strengths and things of that nature, man, the Lord will take that away from you, man. Right? He'll take that away from you easily. So you got to stay onto these things and keep them, man. Right? And always be building on them and polishing up in these last days. Right? Let me get a precept. What was that? I think Sirach. Right? Let me get this. Right? This is the book of Sirach. Or Ecclesiasticus. Chapter 21. Right? This is Sirach 21. And this is the one I want to get, right? The book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse number 15, it says, if a skillful man heareth a wise word, he will commend it and add unto it, man. And that's what we want to be doing, man. Right? Adding on to those things that we heard, those wise words that our teachers have taught us, right? We want to add unto those things, man. Right? And that shows real wisdom when you're able to couple things with those things that you've learned. Right? And you gain more knowledge in a sense. Right? By the proof of your study. Right? By the time and the effort that you've given. Being studious, man, in this thing. Because the Lord is not just going to give you those things for free and just say, well, here's all my wisdom, and you take that and you run with it. Lord's not going to do that, man. The Lord conceals these things, man. Right? So you can go in and dive in these deep waters and you can get into that thing and you can search that thing, right? And you can get built up on your own, man. And the Lord is going to reveal it to you if you ask him, right? And he shows you those things, right? Check this out. Let's get this in the book of James real quick, right? Because the Lord is not unfaithful not to just, he's not just going to sit back and watch you squirm and sweat and head hurt, man, and you scratching your head and you don't know what's going on. No, the Lord applauds your effort and he sees those things. He say, okay, my son is taking care of himself. He's keeping my commandments, being obedient, right? He's giving up his time, his valuable time, some time that he could have spent with his family, but yet he wants to sit with me, right? And he's showing himself approved, so therefore I'm going to give him this wisdom because he's been asking me for it. And the Lord is going to give you those things freely, man, when he see you putting yourself to work. Right, this is the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 5. It says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Yahweh, that giveth to all man liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him, man. Right? It shall be given, man. The Lord is going to give it to you if you ask it. But you can't be tossed to and fro with all type of madness. You got to have that solid foundation and believe what you believe in, studying and stand on that path, man. Right? It says, but let him ask in faith. Right? You have to believe that you're going to gain this wisdom. And it says, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of a sea driven with the wind and tossed. Right? So you don't ever want to be a double-minded man going into, your studies. Saying, I'll never learn this. I'll never get this. I'll never be able to understand this saying. Right? You have to have that full trust in the Lord, man. And lay hold on that woman, wisdom. And nurture her. And allow her to sup with you and build you up, man. In these last days, man. But the Lord is not just going to give it to you openly. You got to have to, you're going to have to put your hand to that thing. Pick up the pen. Get the pad. Right? Go into your blue letter. Go into cross references and things of that nature. Right? Dive. Get you some history in. Right? Go into some geography. Get all this stuff together, man. And I'm talking to myself when I'm teaching this stuff, man. We all can increase and grow in these last days. We all can get better at our works and be a better student right? Me growing up in school, I was never a good student, man. As far as, me really diving deep and trying to study, shoot, man. You couldn't make me do that, man. I did the bare minimum in school just to get by. But this is much more greater than just school. This is the school of the Lord, man. This is the real school of the hard knocks, man. Right? The Lord will expel you if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. If you're not being obedient. If you're not showing yourself approved, the Lord gonna kick you out this thing, man. He don't have no use for you. He don't need you. That's why the Lord hides things, and he causes you to search them out, man. Right? He causes you to get into that thing. Right? Check this out. Let's go to Proverbs. Right? The book of Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse number 2. And it says, "It is the glory of Yahweh to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter." So it's an honor for you to go search out the wisdom of the Most High, man. It's an honorable thing to put your hand to that plow and dive in these scriptures and go precept upon precept, man. Line upon line. Here a little and there a little, man. Diving in the waters, man. Swimming. Right? It's a beautiful thing, man. This is nothing but living water. And you're learning something every day. So the Lord said, "It is the glory of Yahweh to conceal a thing." So the Lord, it's his glory to conceal that thing, man. Right? To shut it off and cause you to go find out what it is. And he says, "But the honor of kings is to search out a matter," man. So it's honorable before the Lord in his eyes to see you go search out that wisdom and find her and lay hold on her, man. Right? Be in student mode, man. This Israelite one-on-one. Being a student in this thing first and foremost, man. Right? That's what it's about. It's to be a student. And it's always a good thing, is that when you're asking of the Lord, like I said, he's going to give it to you when he see you diligent. I had a precept in my head, man. And just, I think, matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Salakia, let me get this in Matthew. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 7. And verse number 7, it says, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be open unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth. And to him that knocketh it shall be open." You see that? And that's what the Lord do to you, man. And that's what he do for you. You ask, he's going to give it. You seek, and you're going to find that thing. When you knock on that door, he's going to open it up, man. And you're going to receive what you're asking for. Right? But all those things are what? You putting forth that effort. You seeking. You coming to knock and figure out which door I should go into, man. All these things are up to you to get that information, man. And to draw it out, man. Right? And it's a good thing because a lot of times you're going to come to find out that the Lord is the ultimate teacher. Right? It's not always coming from man. Of course, man is the one that gives, the Most High is the one that gives man the knowledge. Right? But man is not always present when something is revealed unto you. Right? The Spirit will do that for you. It makes intercession to know what you're looking for, what you need to learn. The Lord is the one that feeds you that knowledge, man. It all comes from the Father of lights. The wisdom runs from the throne, man, all the way down. Right? And whatever the Lord wants you to have, he's going to give it to you. And it's really a beautiful thing. When you've been working and you've been in the Spirit, is when you actually diving in the scriptures and then something is revealed to you that you've been reading over and over and you finally get it. You finally understand it. And you like, hey, man, I know what that's talking about. And I can put that precept with this, and then that means that this and this and blah, blah, blah. So, it's that Spirit that give it to you, man. And that's when the Lord is dealing with you, man. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling, right? Let's get this precept. And let's stay in Matthew chapter 16, right? Let's go Matthew 16. And verse number 17. And it reads, And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. So the Lord said, you're blessed when the Lord reveals these secrets unto you and not a man. So he says, blessed that flesh and blood did not reveal these things, but the Father which is in heaven, man, revealed those things to you, man. And that's a beautiful thing. That's blessings, man, from the Most High. And that's a beautiful feeling. When you've been sitting and studying for a while, you sweating and you rubbing your head, your knees, man. You kind of sleepy a little bit. And you're reading over something to you like, oh, how did I miss that? The Lord gave it to you, man. He gave it to you, man. And it's, hey, that's mighty, man. That's when you know you've been in that thing, man, studying, And that's where you want to get at the end of the day, man, by being a student and showing yourself approved. The Lord is going to do those things for you, man. The Lord will tell you that, man. Let's get that in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 20. Right, check this out. The book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse number 20. And it reads, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. So the Lord said, look, if you hear me knocking with these words, that's how you know the Lord is knocking, man, with these words jumping off the page at you, man. It's wisdom coming up, man. He said, if you hear me knocking, open the door. Because I'm going to come in and sup with you, man. I'm going to feed you this wisdom and knowledge, man. I'm going to sup with him and he's going to sup with me, man. And the Lord going to, spoon feed you this knowledge, man. When you sitting and tarrying and keeping time with the Lord, man. And that's a mighty thing, man. When the Lord is sitting with you and supping with you, man. And bringing forth exquisite parables, man. Dark sayings, right? It's a beautiful thing when the Lord starts to sup with you, man. But you have to be the one that put forth those things, man. And make it a habit. Make it a habit always to make these works, available to yourself, man. Getting the wisdom every day. Set aside a time, a schedule or something to be able to receive this wisdom. And it don't always have to be 2-3 hours long, and you studying, you neglecting your family, you're defrauding yourself of a wonderful day outside. It's shining, the birds singing, your family outside splashing and going on, the grill going and things of that nature. Or you neglecting work that needs to be done around the house or whatever. You sitting in a dark room with a lamp and you just, study for 15 hours, man. The Lord said much study is a weariness of the flesh. So you have to have a certain time, a certain schedule, just sit down and sup with the Lord, man. You can always come back, give a 30-minute here, boom. Do what you got to do. Come back, give it 30 minutes more, go over some precepts, boom. Come back, give some 15 minutes before you go to bed, go over some history or something like that. You can do those things, man. You got to make these a pattern, a habit for yourself, right? So let's get another precept on that. Let's go to Titus, right? Titus. Get a couple more, man. Close it out. I didn't want to be too long-winded. Right? This is the book of Titus. Is that what I want? Titus chapter 2. And verse number 7, it says, In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works. In doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity and sincerity. Right? So let me read that again, make it clear. It says, in all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works. What is a pattern? A pattern is a habit, something that's in sequence, right? You have to have those good habits, man, those good patterns, man. And it says, showing thyself good pattern of works, good works in doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, and sincerity. You got to be sincere about being a student, man. And it says, in sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. So once you down pat, you understood, you solid on the wisdom, understanding, the knowledge, the doctrine that you're studying, the wisdom of the Most High, can't no man gainsay against you. Can't nobody come up against you and fight against the sword of your mouth, man, that the Lord sharpened for you, man. You can make them ashamed that come against you. That's why you see the Israelites sharp out there, man, cutting down doctrine all day, right? On the highways and hedges, all these damn Muslims and Christians and whatever else crazy doctrine that comes up, man, gets cut down with the sword of the Lord, man. Because brothers are studying and putting that work in, man, and studying them, showing themselves approved, man. And the Lord is giving that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Because right now is the time of refreshing. Right now is the time to get that wisdom. It's going to be a time when the wisdom is going to be shut up, man. It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. And you better get it while you got the getting is good, man. You know, because the Lord is going to take it away, man. Sooner than later, you won't have the prophets in the streets anymore teaching. You know, you won't have these churches open and things like that. And really, the church ain't going to teach you nothing anyway. They're not telling you the truth. But nevertheless, they're going to be gone too. But the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the Most High is going to be destroyed. You're not going to have the videos, you know. You might not even have your Bible by your side anymore, man. They're going to ban that too. But it's going to be a stability of your times because you're going to have it here. You got to have it here. And keep it, right, with the discipline, man, of your hands, man. Right? And, you know, that's really all I had, man. You know, just being a student mode in these last days, man. I encourage brothers and sisters to really, you know, get in, you know, and do what you can do, man. The Lord gives everybody according to his measure, man. You're not going to, you know, be like the next man. You just got to get the wisdom that the Lord gives you, man, and try to build upon those things, those gifts that the Lord gave you, right? Because he liberally gives it to those that earnestly want it, right? And he does not give the same, you know, wisdom and knowledge and information to everybody. You know, some know more, some know less. But nevertheless, what you know, increase on those things, right? Stay solid on those things, but never stop searching for yourself to gain more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding these last days, because the Lord is willing and able to do all things for you if you ask and obey in these things, man. The Lord is going to take care of you, man. Right? But with that, I hope it was edifying. You take these precepts and apply them to your life, man. Giving honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. Saying shalom.